Quiet, you mumps and musses. Bunch of flibberty gibbets. Oh, wait. Y'all ain't the ones. You're the ones I invited over. Beg pardon, I was just thinking. Oh, all right, you caught me. I was actually napping, but I was only napping 'cause I've been thinking. And thinking is hard work, as evidenced by how few participate that pastime. Anyway, mighty manly y'all to come by. I just come from a little St. Patty's Day soiree over at Cletus Thibodeau's. He the proprietor of Thibodeau's Cajun Country Kitchen. And why he hosting St. Patty's Day, I don't know. 'Cause he all Cajun and zero Irish. Oh well, any excuse for a party, that's what really make America great. But listening to old friends and neighbors spouting a bunch of horses hit like a gospel give me a bad case of the weary dismals. They sound like the pod people and the body snatchers, or that new show with the killer fungi. I told them, and I gotta tell y'all, we got to have ourselves a little chit-chat. Like when my boy Thaddeus, rest his soul, was 16, borrowed my car to take his girl to the beach. They had to hitchhike home after parking on the sand at low tide. So I said, Dad, we got to have ourselves a little chit-chat. But this not just any chit-chat. This not about teens forgetting title schedules. This important. It's about your future, about your kids' future, about America's future. That are ongoing conversation, so think this first visit is just a swapping howdies and getting acquainted. But I get a tad jumpy when the planets start to line in ways I don't find favorable. So y'all come back and we'll really get after it. By way of proper introductions, I'm Phinneaus T. Broussard, the Phinneaus T. Broussard, 10-term Southern Senator from the great state of Down Yonder. When I told my Abigail I was going to speak up, she said, "Don't care what an old man think, Finn. You're just going to make a fool of yourself." But I figured looking a fool a pretty low price to pay for trying to help save America. Fact is, we at a point everyone ought to be speaking up, while we still got a country where we can. And why shouldn't I? I had credibility back the day because I never, ever deceived my constituents. And I certainly never sold out my country to do the bidding of no fascist traitors lying about what's what. You know fascists, right? They's the ones suffering from fasciitis. I'll be shuffling off this mortal coil sometime the next, 50 years or so. And I'd like to help leave it a little better than I found it. And talk about locking up journalists and deporting folks who disagree with you or just look different and hanging presidents, that's all enough to make me speak up, 'cause that ain't exactly the American way. In fact, only president I think should maybe swing is now the leading contender, which make America seem upside down. Anyhow, don't be reaching for your mink stoles and top hats just yet, 'cause old Finn here just getting the kinks out after my nap. So take a seat if you care to, and pour yourself one if you over mine. When I've been thinking, I usually been sipping too. One kind of just naturally lead to other. I still ain't figured out which one doing the leading. Seem whatever you engage in. Fishing, golfing, especially writing, or even just playing croquet with the great-grandkids out the back lawn. Whatever you're doing, the primary activity is often just a sipping, especially if you're just sitting around thinking. And of course, there ain't no bad whiskey. Some just good, some even better. And round here, liquor's perfect. Any worse I wouldn't drink it. Any better, I wouldn't ever offer none. But whether you sippin' or ain't, think this first chit-chat as a free appetizer of what down yonder we used to call scaly bark wisdom, which hold first and foremost that if we can't be wise, we got to at least be sensible. Seem a lot of you flunking that test lately. We also got to strive to be kind, which clearly getting a bit harder for many too. Getting back to my discomfort of late, I'm walking around in a foggery with a sizzle-sizzle of miserly weather in my head, 'cause I'm a tad concerned about what actually happening and how we doing things. At least, how the smudge doing things. I don't appreciate all the derogatory name-calling of late, but try as I might, I ain't come up with nothing that's both more polite and still accurate for he whose name won't soil my lips. Got folks riled up with big lies, turning some supposed leaders who swore oaths to protect and defend into despicable liars and cowards themselves, soiling America and acting like traitors. So, I'm going to give you the ins and outs of it all, and I'm talking the full particulars, all triple distilled, which may help me sort it out a bit better for my own self. See, it seemed that strange noise I've been hearing at night when I just laying awake staring at the ceiling is the nuts and bolts and wheels coming off our democratic public. Starting to feel like America wobbling down the road a bit cattywampus, possible on the verge of crashing. At the very least, I'm thinking we need ourselves a consultative tune-up, which is why I'm here. So you can finally simmer down, kids. There's an adult on deck. Ain't many adults left these red states, where these whining-mouthed Republican governors and others don't want to teach real history no more. That dovetail well with their assault on real science. And I tell you, once they done knocking off truth and facts, it'd be a whole new reality. Kind of like Alice in Wonderland, but with real bloodshed. And a blue-eyed white Jesus, probably orange-white, serving as the grand imperial wizard president. And if you need reminding that dangerous silliness, see my friend Tim Egan's Fever in the Heartland. You'll believe history rhyme and reincarnation real. And it's proof there ain't nothing original about the smudge. Most of the time I serve in the Senate, many thought down yonder as a hotbed of tranquility. Most of the redneck crackers even thought racial relations weren't too bad back today. So long I had to remind those crackers that the downtrodden didn't make an issue about being downtrodden. That was always a tad disencouraging, especially for the downtrodden. I was a bit of a maverick in the Senate. Sometimes I even went flat out rabble-rousing renegade. But back in my day, we debate real facts. Now, facts and truth don't seem to matter none. It's just a big game played in the center ring of the sloganeering circus with labels that don't pass no truth and advertising tests. Like woke, most overused word in the history of words, by folks who don't even know what it means. It really just a derogatory term for those of us who respectful of others. Used by them that feel a childish need to be intentionally rude. How many mamas raise their kids to be intentionally rude? Then there's slogans like Make America Great Again. I like to combine what folks believe with who they is, like Make America Great Again smudge supporters or magasses. Magasses think they's all true patriots. Newsflash, y'all, you ain't. I know that hard to hear 'cause I think you want to be. So I'll come back to that regular and explain why. For now, it might have something to do with saying you'd take a bullet for your country when you won't even take a needle for your friends and neighbors or even your own kids. You don't care enough about your country to read, to get properly informed. Instead of asking your Uncle Tucker or your Uncle Sean or your Aunt Laura to make up any old story for you. And you mag-ass is the one that woke by supposed leaders who ignore facts, bludgeon truth with lies, and savage those you disagree with. Mostly just woke to the game of denying reality, trying to create a new one, which is dangerous. Yes, sir, and you mag-asses that woke by charlatans who making you angry, make you feel good. I tend to think you's toast, as in comatose, and victims of your own leaders, choking on the hits they feeding you. The horses hit, the pigs hit, and the bulls hit, all from fash hits. So let's cut all the hits. You're way better to be woke like you're conscious of the real world around you than to be toast. At least you ain't walking around in a hazy daze of confusion about what real and what fake. In fact, much as I dislike labels, I love me some portmanteaus. So those that toast, I'm calling them toastrages, meaning they're comatose ostriches, which is with their heads buried in the sand. I told my own kinnery down to second cousins twice removed, and even their neighbors-in-laws. This ripping up the social fabric, it don't work for America, and it don't work for me. So I ain't talking just to swap howdies here. I do that any time. But one reason I'm so disencouraged is that a lot of folks, woke and toast alike, don't want to even swap that. They don't want to swap nothing. My great-granddaughter Clementine's just 15. Thinks it's 'cause a lot of folks just uninformed. Hold on, I just remember. Clementine told me, Grandpa, you got to ask folks to click the button to like you and subscribe. I don't know no button and I ain't here to be liked. But let's assume that for now that some teenage girls know what they talking about. Clem do. Well, sometimes. Anyway, when I was new to politics, one senator told me he was going to blame me for something went wrong before I even got there. When I explained it couldn't have been my fault, he said, I didn't say it was your fault, Finn. I said I was going to blame you. Yeah, playing them kind of games for so long, I feel like I actually earned one of the greatest pensions on earth. But I still racked with guilt that it paid for mostly by folks with no pension at all. Kind of proves they don't care much about your money, which just don't seem fair. So we come back to fair at some point too. For now, let me just check the time. I'm a little concerned about, I wish to my never. These first Get Quainneds tend to drag on. We still got a lot to cover, though, as I share more triple distilled particulars through the eye of vast experience. Just keep in mind when you come back that you better fasten your seatbelt because we're going to get in it. Meanwhile, remember that tomorrow, a brand new day, ain't never been touched. And try to remember to listen well, learn a lot, be nice to everyone, and have a lot of fun. Oh, and just call me Finn. Bye.